I want to thank the music team and Nancy Words for reading. We're continuing with our January series, Out with the Old, In with the True, and continuing to focus on the In with the True portion. Our topic for today is You Are the Curriculum. So last week we focused on listening with your heart, and I'm just curious if you've been practicing that deep listening and getting quiet enough to hear the divine whispering to you. I sure hope so, and if not, it's never too late to start. So this week, as I said, we're focusing on You Are the Curriculum. How are you in control of your life, and how do you direct your life? How your thoughts have great power over you, and how you develop exactly who you are by the choices you make. So here's the question for the week. What is the one choice that you can make today to recognize that you are writing your own curriculum of life, and it's best to develop it from your heart? One more time. What's the one choice that you can make today to recognize that you are writing the curriculum of your life, and it is best to develop it from your heart? Curriculum is broadly defined as a totality of student experiences that occur in the educational process. Curriculum can incorporate the planned interaction of pupils with instructional content, materials, resources, as well as processes for evaluating the attainment of educational objectives. Curriculum is typically split into several categories: the explicit, the implicit, including hidden things, the excluded, and the extracurricular activities. And in your life, you are the curriculum. You are the totality of your experiences. All that you do, all of your experiences, all of them, make you who you are, and they define who you have come here to be. The explicit, the implicit, what you choose to do, and all your extracurricular activities, as well as what you choose not to do. We are the channel for God's good to be personalized and realized. The magnificence of our nature is at the heart of every cause. The world is that of cause and effect. And often we cover up our magnificence with false beliefs about separation, fear, control, not good enough, other things. Who we believe ourselves to be is continuously broadcasting itself into the law of cause and effect and becoming form and experience. The life we were meant to live is one of contentment, freedom, peace, acceptance, love. We're called to fully participate in our lives and to act courageously and to live wholeheartedly. The thing itself within us is pure truth and irresistible. When we awaken to our real nature, that eternal divine nature, there's no other and nothing to fear. And we recognize what Reverend Boyle, in his book, Tattoos on the Heart, called the no matter whatness of God. That nothing matters except love. There's no judgment. There's no putting someone else down in order to lift yourself up. There is a no matter whatness of God. And until we awaken to our real nature, there's a tendency for us to accept negative beliefs about ourselves, that we're not good enough, that we need to protect ourselves from attack from other people, from other countries, that the universe is an unfriendly place, that we are in some way less than another person, which couldn't be further than the truth. Seen from a spiritual perspective, vulnerability is strength and leads to living a courageous, compassionate, connected life. Ernest Holmes encourages us to wake up to our true nature. Here's what he has to say. If one would take the time, once a day at least, to let go of all that is not true and lay hold of reality, let go of doubt, distrust, worry, condemnation, and fear, and lay hold of life in its expressions of beauty, truth, wholeness, his mental congestion would be healed. Do you ever feel you know who you are and then other parts of you just show up, seemingly from nowhere? Those hidden parts of us, sometimes parts we like and sometimes parts we don't like, they sometimes trigger us and we react. Sometimes we're not even sure where the feelings or the reactions are coming from. We are continuously experiencing the sum total of our consciousness. Dr. Holmes reminds us about that when he says that even when we think the law is not working, it is still working. These parts are still who we are, and they came from the previous curriculum of our life. If we want to change them, we just need to change our curriculum. I was a curriculum developer for years in my professional life, and I know that it is a good thing to be really clear about how we write our curriculum, because it's important to know a number of things before we start a new project. For example, what was a client wanting to convey to the target audience? What's the time frame for each portion of the curriculum? You have to know that it takes time, and sometimes we have to do rewrites, and sometimes things just don't feel right, and we have to test them, to try them on for size, to see if it's the right fit. And the third thing that's really important is what type of resources are available. If we are the curriculum and we are writing our own curriculum of life, how do we define ourselves in our lives? How do we become extremely clear about our own curriculum? We're the client. Do we know what we want to convey to ourselves and others about who we are? Who do you really want to be in the world? If you were to be extremely clear about who you've come here to be, about the image you have of your perfect self, what would it look like? And what's the time frame for your first interaction with your own curriculum? You know that you're creating your own life through this curriculum, so how might you want to start, and when do you want to start adopting these new ways of living? Remember, you'll probably have to test some of them on for size. You might realize that some of the things you put in your curriculum need tweaking, or perhaps you need to just throw them out because they don't fit with who you are. All of this is part of curriculum development. And finally, what resources do you have available for your curriculum? Who can you get to support you? And what are you willing to do regularly to practice these new ways of being? Dr. Ernest Holmes in Science of Mind wrote this: if we wish a certain good, we must instill into our own minds a realization of this specific good. And then, as this idea is the mold we place in mind, it will be filled by the substance necessary for complete manifestation of this good in our lives. In other words, if we want something, we have to have a vision of what it looks like. We have to write that into our curriculum. Bring the experience of faith, joy, and bliss to every moment, and your curriculum is sure to get high marks. The power is within each of us to create the life we want. Let me say that again. The power is within each of us to create the life we want. What if we wrote our own curriculum using the messages from our songs today? seeing God in everything, remembering that our thoughts are prayers. If we really believed that we lived in an abundant universe and that we were made in the image and likeness of the divine, that we were instruments of the divine, then would we stop believing that we're not enough and that there is not enough in the world, and write a curriculum that was filled with abundance and joy and freedom and peace and ease? There's a Sufi story about a man who was an old man looking back on his life, and he was telling his friends, "When I was young, I was fiery. I wanted to awaken everyone. So I prayed to Allah to give me the strength to change the world. And then in midlife, I woke up one day and realized that my life was half over and I had changed no one. So I prayed to Allah, give me the strength to change those around me who so much need to be changed. Alas, now I'm old, and my prayer is much simpler. Allah, please give me the strength to at least change myself." That is a great story about how we write our own curriculum, whether we're writing our curriculum to change the world or to be all that we can be. We decide and direct how this power to create life, to create our own life, is used through us and as us. The man praying to Allah lived a lifetime before he recognized that the only person he could really change was himself. He's the only one using his curriculum. So how do we go about making our change? Again, we're the client. Have a clear intention and speak your word with faith and clarity for the good that you desire. Pour into that mold everything that you want. Pour it into your mind and let the light of God shine through you. We build faith to know that our word has power, that what we say is directing our lives, that we are the curriculum, the things that are excluded and the extracurricular activities, the explicit and the implicit. The power to create the life you want is right within you. It's just there for the asking. You know, each week we begin our service with this song called "Get Ready, My Soul." I'm diving in. What if we took those words to heart when writing our own curriculum? How do you think your curriculum might look if you dove into the deep essence of who you were? Ernest Holmes writes in Science of Mind, "How much of this infinite good is ours? All of it. And how much of it may we have to use? As much of it as we can embody." Wow. As much of it as we can embody. Imagine that. So we're always experiencing our own consciousness. If it's not to our liking, we can plant a new idea. We can broadcast something different and have a different experience. We live in this oneness, so there's nothing against us and nothing that can harm us. So we can write our own curriculum to convey precisely the message that we want to convey, to create precisely the person we want to create, seeing that God is absolutely in everything. It's then that we're living in our true power. The awareness of this power helps to free us of any fears or feeling vulnerable. We can create that mold that we have in our mind to manifest great things in our lives. We must know our own curriculum. We exist in it. We draw from it every day through the channel of our own minds. Our thoughts are indeed prayers. And remember the Sufi story. Your curriculum is for you. It's not meant to be there for others or to force others to look at life the way you do. We're always experiencing our own consciousness. Not only are we the curriculum, we're the curriculum developers. The divine presence can only do for us what it can do through us. Make yourself an instrument of the divine. Allow yourself to play with different forms of curriculum, to test some things out, to throw them out and replace them with other things. I have a challenge for you this week. Allow the divine to play with you, to get the most beautiful tones from the instrument of the divine that you are. Remember, we are the curriculum, and we can develop it however we choose. This week, do one thing every day to write your curriculum from your own heart, to add something to your life that's going to create ease and peace and freedom. And take time to practice, to test drive that new curriculum. And if you need help, ask for it. I'm sure that there's someone that would be more than happy to help you live a life that you're going to love living. And then every evening, just check in to see how you did. So I want to leave you with an affirmation this week. How is it that I so easily and willingly choose today to recognize that I am my own curriculum and I develop it from my heart? How is it that I so easily and willingly choose today to recognize that I am my own curriculum and I develop it from my heart? So let's pray. Just taking a deep, nourishing breath and moving into your heart. Recognizing that God is all there is, that there's absolutely no spot where God is not. And knowing that that divine is love and peace and ease and grace and comfort and whatever it is that makes your heart sing. And that all of that is right within you as an individual expression of the divine, that we are all one, that there's only one life that's God, and it's your life right here, right now. It's each of our lives right here, right now. So what I know to be the truth is that each of us has come here and that we are writing our curriculum every day, that every experience, all of our experiences are creating who we are. And we indeed have a choice to be loving and kind and compassionate. So I am so grateful. I'm grateful that I know that the God without is the God within each of us. That whatever I'm writing in my curriculum, that I can test it and make sure that it's coming from my heart. And you can do the same. So it's from all that gratitude that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing the truth that wherever we are, God is right there with us, and God has already called each of our curriculum absolutely perfect for us. So He's called it done. So I can just say amen, and together we can affirm it. And so it is.